Listener Rangers, welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnes.
And today we're going to do some more toy top 10s. Because today we're going to go over my top 10 favorite Godzilla toys that are not Godzilla.
What?
Yeah, so it's going to be any kaiju that can go in this category. Had to have been in a Godzilla film. And it cannot be Godzilla. And I'm excluding Zilla because we used him in the Godzilla list, so he's not going to be able to be in this one.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yep, and this is just my personal favorite. Some of these toys might not be the best representation of the character or even the best action figure, but I just really love them for sentimentality or just other things in general.
It's what he likes.
Yep. So, number 10, what we have? Diamond Select Jet Jaguar Bank. Now, why this is number 10 is because Jet Jaguar is one of my favorite Showa kaijus of all time. Like, I really love Jet Jaguar. Problem is, you don't see Jet Jaguar stuff too often. Especially decent looking Jet Jaguar stuff. Like, overall, other than the giant slot in his back, he's actually a pretty nice looking figure overall. Like, mainly he's sitting on my shelf looking like this. So, it works for me.
Alright, so the only failure of this figure, that it's not a good bank, right?
Yeah, like, bank it sucks. So it's kind of like on the ground up. It has a giant slot in his back, so it kind of takes away from the figure aspect, but it's a crappy bank. But still looks good. Like, I like the scale, I like the size, and overall, it's the best Jet Jaguar I own.
Hey.
Yeah, until I get the Japanese vinyl or an X Plus version, like, this guy's it.
They got an X Plus version of him?
I do believe there is an X Plus. I'd have to double check. You guys get on it, but I'm pretty sure, I think there's a 25 centimeter.
Oh, it's probably like 200-300, huh?
Yeah, we don't talk about those ones.
Ah.
Alright, for number 9. Bandai Creations Mechagodzilla.
Really?
I just like this guy. Mike doesn't like it either.
Mike agrees with us. Look at that.
Yeah, but for the Bandai Creation Mechagodzilla, I actually think overall, it's probably my favorite Bandai Creation one I own. Like, out of all the ones that came stateside, this is one of my favorite ones in terms of just overall sculpt and detail. Like, he looks good. Overall, his pose looks like he's getting ready for some action. He's like, what's up?
Alright, I'm going to say this for all the fans out there. Really, Steve?
I think he's really cool looking. And he's the best representation I have in my collection as of right now. I see one at G-Fest this year. Some guy had the Rick Boy, and I was like, oh, I want it so bad. But the guy wanted a lot for it, which, understandable. It actually wasn't a bad price, but it was like a little over a third of my money I brought with me to pick it up. And there was stuff I was looking for, so I had to pass. But, oh, I wanted the thing so bad. So, right now, I'm stuck with the Creation, which I'm perfectly fine with. Like, I have some chibi versions of this guy. I have the Diamond Bank. I'm hoping to pick up a X Plus or even the Shogoken eventually. But this guy still works for me as of right now. Alright, for my number 8, one of my older Bandai vinyls is the Black Gigan.
And Arnes' most second-hated monster.
Overall, probably one of the more stylized figures in my collection, because you can see he's black. Gigan wasn't black. But it's one of the earliest Japanese vinyls that I was able to pick up, because I found him at a comic book shop, and they had him for pretty cheap because he was already kind of scuffed up to begin with. And then also, I got him when I was a lot younger, so he got a lot of play. Like, I got this guy even before my first G-Fest.
So he was here for the good old days.
Yep, good old days when everybody played with toys. And everybody abused the crap out of toys. It's like, God, like all the Kenner figures I broke in my day. I wish I had them now.
I got this, guys.
Sorry. I'm nice to him now. I was like, a lot of these figures in my collection survived my childhood. Which is a testament.
Which is saying something.
Because it was either me or the dog. Went through some of these. But for the most part, the Godzilla stuff I was still pretty gentle with. It's just some of the paint job on his claws and stuff were a little scuffy.
So saying all that, he actually does not look that bad then.
No, he's actually pretty cool. It's also one of the things that got me to appreciate more stylized looking figures. Like the suit, like the figure doesn't have to look exactly like the actual suit.
Yeah.
It's like with the Trendmasters, like them being a little bit weird looking didn't really bother me when I was a kid. Still don't really bother me now. It's kind of why I can kind of get behind the Marmots a little bit.
Marmots aren't a class on their own, though. They're special.
Oh, it's true. They're definitely more for the artistic collector. But, even though I would prefer to have the figure look like the suit, but still, really have a soft spot for this guy, especially since, I just like the coloring on him overall. Definitely my favorite Gigan. Cool. Alright, number 7. We're actually doing a lot of vinyls here for today, because next we're going to move on to Orga. Godzilla 2000. You have a problem with this guy?
No.
I picked him up at G-Fest this year because this is one of the figures I've been wanting for a super long time. I just been wanting a representation of Orga in my collection. If they make an X Plus of this guy, I'm gonna buy it. Easily. I love Orga.
How much you pay for
it?
Wait, what?
I think I got him for, it was about $50.
Really?
Vinyls aren't cheap, man. Him with the tag, you add about another $25 to it. And he's cool looking. I really like it. Other than I kind of wish the seams were a little bit better hidden on his back, but that's just the way the mold was done. But overall, it looks good. Looks great. I actually like him standing next to the 2000 the Monster Arts figure.
Steve, I walked by that shelf hundreds, thousands of times. All these toys have caught my eye. Except that guy. I always thought that guy did not belong on that shelf up there.
Just because he sits with my X Pluses?
Now that you tell me the price of it, you're like, really?
Yeah, he's not cheap. But this is, again, it's just you don't see Orga stuff too often. It's kind of like Jet Jaguar.
Oh, it's one of those things.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I don't know if he's just personally not really well liked in Japan. I think it just might not have been a very popular kaiju.
Well, that's fine. We got NECA. NECA. Chop, chop.
They can't.
Oh.
Might get a Monster Arts one eventually.
Sorry,
which is what I'm kind of holding out for. Or if X Plus puts one out, I'll buy it in a heartbeat.
You want to buy a lot of X Pluses, Steve. You'll be broke.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't own a lot of X Pluses. Mainly because, to me, it feels more like a collectible that you want certain suits.
Yeah.
Like, you really like that kaiju, so you want the best version of it. To me, it's not really something that I need all of them. Like, I just want certain ones. I'm not, like, I know it's blasphemy, but like even Richard used to say, you just collect what you love. Personally, for me, I like the Bandai vinyls and the Monster Arts figures, so that's generally what I go for.
Each his own collector, I guess.
Yep. Number 6, we have another vinyl.
Oh God, we're back to this thing.
This time with the Japanese King Ghidorah, who's also seen a decent amount of play, but his paint job actually still is holding up pretty well though overall through the years. Which I got this guy at my original G-Fest. Yep, I also have the Monster Arts version of it, which the Monster Arts version definitely looks better. Can't argue with it. But I just have a little bit more attachment to this one because it was from my first G-Fest. It wasn't the best time of my life at that point. It definitely was something that helped to uplift it going to that convention. And this figure definitely helped with that because I love this figure when I picked it up. And it's probably one of the most played with figures that I have. Alright, for number 5, we're getting into some real actual action figures here. Because what we have here is my X Plus SH Monster Arts Kiryu from Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. Now, the reason why I love this figure so much is one, Kiryu, awesome kaiju, love the film. I also have this one autographed. Yep. Which is autographed by the director of the film, Masaki Tezuka, which I got to meet the guy, super awesome guy. It was funny too when I handed him the figure, because I think I was probably the first person to really be like, hey, I got this toy, autograph it. Because he actually looked at it, he's like, what the fuck did you just hand me? He's like, shh, just sign it. So you can see it right here. Looks really nice in the package. The only thing that sucked is after I put all my autograph stuff in my display case actually decided to fall on my figures. So all the figures are perfectly fine, but my autograph comic book got ripped in half, and the box here got a little smushed. So my box is not in as good a shape as it was when I initially got an autograph, which is
a sad thing.
A huge bummer. But I still love this figure overall, just mainly because of the memories of getting autographed and being from my second G-Fest. Hoping to go back again this year. But this is going right back into the case. Number 4, after talking about how X Pluses aren't quite my thing because they take up a lot of shelf space, a little bit expensive, yada yada yada. We have the X Plus Anguirus 1955. Now, the reason why I really love this, and I picked this over the Bandai 68 that I have, the vinyl, is because I actually just like this Anguirus a little more personally. Like, for me, I really love the 1955 film Godzilla Raids Again. I know some people really don't like it, but I actually really enjoyed the film when I was younger. Still do. Also, some of the only X Pluses I own from that movie.
This guy has some great details on him, though.
Oh, yeah, no, the detail work on this is fantastic. The X Plus, overall, I have only had one figure that did not live quite up to my expectation.
The X Plus?
Yeah, which would be the Burning Godzilla. But this guy, super amazing. For $155 when I got him, definitely was worth it.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds pricey, but it's definitely worth it, trust me. Like, when you get this guy in hand, it just blows you away. And the detail work on this thing is amazing. Gushed over in the review I did it for in a Super Import Reviews. Still love it to this day. And one of the best reasons to pick up an X Plus is because they look amazing.
Aren't they, like, supposed to be, like, the actual representation of the suit?
Yep. Like, it even has, like, the seam lines on the figure here that you would have saw in the suit. Same problems. It even has, like, the neck hole, the air holes in the way where the suit actor could see on his neck here, too. Like, there's just so much detail put into these figures. It's amazing. Number 3, going from X Plus to Treadmaster.
Steve, I thought you said we're taking this a little bit more seriously.
But I am. This is my favorite Treadmaster figure I own, which is the large Mechagodzilla. Because if you look at it, you're like, okay, it's Mechagodzilla. Cool, it's from the Heisei film. You know how odd it is to see a Treadmaster figure that actually looks like the kaiju from the movie? Like, this is almost, pound for pound, the most suit accurate looking of all the figures.
It's got a button on the back. What does it do?
If I had batteries in him, I took them out because I don't really mess around with them. If you'd walk in front of him, he would actually roar. Like, he's
cool.
like motion censored. Which is actually was really cool at the time, so you got him seeing yourself, you walk past, he roars. Cool. Really awesome. And he's articulated, which is something I look for in figures, because I really like me some posable action figures. It's also as cool that his mouth actually moved, which you didn't get to see too often in the old Treadmaster figures. His legs are articulated. Some of his paint's kind of worn off on his feet and his hands.
How old is he?
Oh, God. Like early 90s. Information was 1994.
Oh.
So this guy is 22 years old. Which I think looks pretty good for a 22-year-old action figure that survived my childhood.
Okay, maybe he deserves a third spot then.
Yeah, because it's just like, I loved everything about it. Like, even when he roars, like, he has the clear eyes, so he actually lit up and everything.
The question is, does he still work though?
Yeah, he works.
Oh.
I don't have the batteries in it right now. Like, you can even pop up his tail, too. And it's really easy to get on, too, so he's a little bit more storable than some of the other Trendmasters. But it's just for, like, if you want a nice, large, good-looking, accurate Heisei Mechagodzilla, one of the best, in my opinion.
Alright, we're getting down to the final one.
And on final nitty-gritty, number 2 and number 1 was actually really hard because both for Kaiju, I really, really love, and I really love these figures, but I had to actually sit down and think about it, like, which ones do I prefer more? Where do I have them displayed? Which ones do I show off a little bit more to people than others? So, it pains me, really pains me, but for number 2 is my Monster Arts Biollante.
This is where I disagree with Steve.
Because I'm going to turn on the light on her just because it's one of the things I really love about her. I'm going to put the red light on. This makes me happy. Now, for the Biollante figure. This is actually my first Monster Arts figure I ever picked up. And what really got me hooked into the toy line. Because initially when I saw it, because this was back in the time when I saw like Monster Arts at like couple of like anime shops that are around here and stuff, and I'm like, who the heck's gonna pay $80 for a 6-inch Godzilla toy? That's crazy. After buying vinyls and like the Bandai Creation stuff, I'm like, I don't really see it. And then I saw this guy go for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store, and this was when I wasn't really ordering figures too much either, and I'm like, oh sweet, it's a Biollante. You don't see Biollante figures ever, and they're never cheap. Like, the X Plus one's crazy price. The vinyls are crazy price. And you see this for $200. I'm like, I probably should pick it up because it's probably going to go up in value, which it has. Because this figure is not cheap anymore. So I hopped on it, and then that got me on, well, if I'm getting this, I probably should get the Godzilla to go with it.
And it begins.
And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And when I picked this thing up, fell in love with it. Thought the 200, it was like 212 at the time. I actually thought it was worth it, even though like everybody kind of looked at me like, you paid $212 for a toy? I'm like, look how beautiful it is. Especially when you compare it to some of the figures I put on this table. It's freaking ginormous. And fully articulated. Like everything moves.
Detail on it is great.
Yeah, and the detail on it is amazing. The only real hiccup is this little flap right here, which is fine.
Which one?
It's for under the neck, so you can kind of close the joint. So if you
Oh.
lift it up, you can adjust accordingly. Which is kind of the really only little eyesore, but it's nothing major. And Biollante is my favorite kaiju from the Godzilla films.
Haven't got that far, so I can't.
Yep, we haven't gotten there yet. We got one more Gamera movie to get through. We might do one or two random films. And even though I've had some requests for the Heisei Mothras, what I think we're going to do with the Heisei series, and I'll just put it out here real quick, is I want to go over the Heisei movies by the years.
By the years.
Yep, so like say when we get to 94, we're going to be doing Space Godzilla, and then we'll do Gamera. Then after Godzilla vs. Destroy, we'll do Gamera 2.
So there'll be a lot more, huh?
Yeah, so we'll toss some other kaiju movies. So we'll do like some Godzillas, toss in Mothras when we get to their years. I think we're going to do it that way for those. Just because I really love the Heisei films overall, like they're all great.
Well, it's a 90s, so hopefully they're getting a lot better.
Yeah, actually, I say it's almost probably the best for me, anyways. Like, pretty much all the Heisei movies are watchable for me.
Sweet. About damn time.
NumberOne, I actually have to go get it back off the shelf. NumberOne, I don't know if he's going to fit on the screen very well, but you guys have seen him plenty of times.
I feel like we've seen this before. This guy seems to be taking a lot.
This guy goes on a lot of lists for our channel. We'll back him up a little bit. But this is the X-Plus Destroyer. Got this guy. He's a fairly recently acquired action figure. And it's from the X-Plus line. Again, I only really buy X-Pluses when there's a certain suit I really, really want. Destroy is definitely one of those. Because I really love Destroyer. Definitely one of my more favorite kaijus. I'd say in definitely easily top 5 with Biollante.
He is hideous looking.
But he's so cool.
I meant that in a good way.
Yeah, the detail work on this thing blew me away when I got this thing. Because initially when I saw the pictures on it for online, I wasn't super impressed looking at it. I thought it was going to be maybe have the same problems that I have with the 25 centimeter Burning Godzilla that came out. Where like maybe some of the detail work wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
But then I got it in, and it was pretty much like all of those concerns were just thrown out the window. Like even the problem I had with the shipping with this guy is still A-okay with me.
Everybody had an issue with.
Yeah, it was something like if you were going to get it, it was just a concern you're going to have. And the reason why I got NumberOne is because I really love Destroya, even though Biollante is my favorite kaiju, and that's my favorite Monster Arts figure that I have. But this guy I always show him off. Like whenever people come over and be like, "Hey, what's a good Godzilla toy you got?" And I go, "Oh, here's one." And everybody's like, "Oh!" And then you tell them the price, and they're like, "Oh," because this guy isn't cheap, but you get what you paid for.
Yeah, that's the only issue it seems is his price.
Yeah, and he takes up a lot of real estate on your shelf. A lot.
But a figure like that deserves its own shelf, though.
Oh, yeah, easily. Like I made room for this guy when he showed up. Some X-Plus, some of my X-Plus, I just kind of they just worked their way into the collection. He literally, I made it like he had a section already set up, established for him.
Seems like he worked his way into my hut.
Yeah, I personally could not get over this figure, and I don't know if it's just because he's one of the newest ones, but this is my baby.
No, even like looking at it now, his details are fantastic. Like,
yeah, it's the best representation of the guy I have, easily. Like Biollante, you can argue that probably the X-Plus probably looks better than him.
Yeah.
I don't own it, so I can't really say. But I do have a lot of Destroyers, and this is easily the best one. And you guys know how much I love Monster Arts. Like, Monster Arts is my thing, but X-Plus definitely sold me on that one.
Touché.
Now I make it seem like I'm a big X-Plus hater. Even though I'm not. Like, X-Plus is an awesome line. But it's just like, I personally like my articulated figures.
Yeah. It's more of like a thing where you can pose it the way you want it to be, not the way they wanted it to be.
Yeah, like I just like being able to look at my display case, but like maybe I want to pose a little different like this today.
Yeah.
Can't really do that with these guys.
With that thing, it's like you feel like you're doing what they want you to do, not what you want to do.
Yeah, it's just like I just want to like I buy like X-Plus for me is like you buy them because you want to look at them and just be like, he's so good, so good. Well, Monster Arts is something you can look at and also do what you want with it.
Yeah, still know what it is, but give you more
Yeah,
options.
still look great, but has a little bit more play value is what I like to call it. And I just like variety. That's just kind of me. I'm just that collector where it's just I like a little bit of everything.
Steve, have you told your wife that?
No.
Maybe
She's okay with it. Although I do lean a lot more heavily towards Monster Arts and vinyls. But again, collect what you want. If you guys enjoy it, buy it. I'm not going to knock it for you. But what did you guys think of this top 10 list? Please let us know in the comment section below what's your guys' favorite Not Godzilla figures. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe, become a Ranger today, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.